Hi, guys. This is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to do some of our NESARA shorts, and we're going to talk a little bit about the Federal Reserve. Now, if you know anything about it, which if some of you do and some of you don't, you think that it's part of the federal government. It's not. It was created by Woodrow Wilson. It was put forward in 1913, and I don't want to get into the story too much because it's a longer story with that. And it was pushed forward in a really sick way. Um, the Titanic is part of the story. So that's an interesting, fun story that we can get into another time frame. But the Federal Reserve is a private organization, and its main function is to direct the monetary situation. So the monetary situation of our nation, and it's supposed to like kind of guide and direct inflation, deflation issues. Presidents talk to them. They have said, many of the directors of the Federal Reserve have said directly, we don't care what the policies of the president, or they basically say of the president, we create the economic directions. And they'll say that many different ways. See, they will set the bank rates. So, for instance, when they say that they set the rates, what will happen is they will set a percentage rate. So you'll hear like a percentage, like the rate will go up and it will affect the markets, or the rates will go down. And you'll hear like a 0.25 rate, and it can totally affect the market. Or they say, oh, they've looked at the economic structure and they don't have to raise the rate. And people go, oh, yay, we don't have to raise the rate. And and then it messes with people. Now, in 2008, they supposedly, in the good of the people, decided that they didn't have to, they took on all the toxic debts of the world in their good, the goodness of their heart. And what you don't realize is that their whole point, the goodness of their heart, was really what they had to do. And so they had to take all the toxic debts upon them. They're the lender of last resort. And it's actually part of their charter. Now, they are a private organization, they're a private agency, and they're actually part of the main 13 banks. Now, 13 is a cabal point. That's what they like to do. So they have to have all these different banks that they have out there. Now, so what happens with that, with the systems, is that these banks will tell them what to do. So there's a main dude that is picked by the president, and but basically he's in charge, and he gets to really tell the president what he gets to do. And so that's just how it just actually works. And they're a central bank in essence. And but they're not federal and they don't reserve anything. So they tell the economic systems what they actually do. The reality is that ever since 2020, Donald Trump, with the CARES Act, with the CARES 2 Act, actually shoved the Fed underneath the Treasury Department. And when he did that, and he actually took the IRS, which is their reaching arm into our pockets, and took them and shoved them under there too. And we have direct evidence of this kind of stuff. And what he did is that made them take on all of the toxic debts. Now, in 2008, when he let them take their toxic debts, they were able to sell them off and make a ton of money. Now, when they take on those toxic debts, say that one really fast many times. When they take on those toxic debts many times, what happens is they can't offload them. No one wants to take on those toxic debts. And so since 2020, what is happening is that they take on those toxic debts. They can't offload them. No one will take them because no one wants them. And so they're getting deeper and deeper into a negative category. And when you become when your losses outweigh your profits or the money that is coming in, um, you become have a negative equity that comes in. And so the Fed in 22 turned into a negative equity category. Well, guess what? Um, no company, no agency ever can run into a negative equity. Ever since 2020, the federal government has been running with, and they've been taking money out of the Fed like they're a candy, I mean, a kid at a candy store that doesn't have to pay for anything. Um, I mean, they've taken out maybe 7 to 12, probably more like $12 trillion. You guys don't understand. They were at $20 trillion in debt, and now we're talking about $32 trillion of debt, probably pushing on $33 trillion of debt. And it's a toxic level. And when you're really toxic, what happens is it rises to a high level, and you become systemically sick. And that's when you become systemically sick, you die from that. And that's what's happening to the Fed. Now, people get really scared about that. And they go, well, they're going to come up with a way to get out of this. And some people think like the Fed Now programs, excuse me, or CBDCs is going to save them. Oh, yay, we're going to come up with a new fiat currency system that will suddenly, we're going to throw out new monies. See, the new people, there are people out there that are trying to tell you that Fed Now, a digital money system, or CBDCs that could take as much as $7.5 trillion to actually fund. Well, that's a good idea, because now we would be what, 40 trillion, $41 trillion in debt. How would that help our economy? How would that help anyone buying anything? See, right now, no one's buying cars and houses and anything else. And how would adding more money into a system help people going to borrow things? See, if people can't afford borrowing things right now, how would you add by increasing the inflation and increasing the amount that it costs to have money, which means the interest rates. See, if you increase the amount of inflation, you increase the inflation, or the bank rates. See, if they increase the inflation, they're going to have to increase the ratios. And every time you increase the ratios, it costs more money to get the money, which means bank loans, instead of being 7%, which is ungodly for this money, or becomes 9%, 12%, 14%. See, right now, and I made this comment before, and I'm going a little bit longer, but there is a hotel chain. I think it's the Hilton chain, Park Hilton in San Francisco. That, and without getting into it too deeply, if we were just calculating a monthly amount, if they put 20% down on a $750 million a monthly, or $750 million amount, and if they had a $3.2 million monthly amount that they had to pay, a monthly mortgage that they had to pay, and at 3%, okay, and if over a 20-year period of time, and you went from 3% to 7%, and right now they're at a foreclosure rate, and they went to the company that they're with, I think it's Wells Fargo, and they went over to Wells Fargo. See, to buy a new loan would be 7%, because that's the predicted going rate at this point. So 7%, that would be 4.5 million. So if you can't afford a 4.2, I mean 3.2, how can you afford a 4.5? So if you can't afford a 4.5, could you afford a 14% loan? What would that be? What, a $10 million a month loan? I mean, come on, guys. After a while, people just go, I can't afford anything. And the whole system implodes. You see, Fed now is a killer. They can't do it. NESARA is on the way. The Fed is dying and dead. Don't worry about it. You guys are stressing about things that is not an issue. I see people all the time that are stressing about it. I just talked to a person that's stressing about it. If you're looking at the wrong stuff as the old systems are dying, that excites me because I know the new systems are already in place. The Basel IV compliance for the gold backed currency is already there. The quantum system is already there. And the good things are coming in place because the Fed has to die for us to come into the quantum financial system and into the good stuff that will come through the Treasury so we can have a decentralized good thing that will happen for us. So I hope that helps you out. It's packed with a lot of information in here, but the Fed is dead. Thanks so much.